Hello, everybody. It is Thursday, and we are back here live again with Nathaniel Thompson, who I was just musing with. It feels like it was just recently that was on, but man, it's been about 10 or 11 months since you were last on. So welcome back. It's been a while.
Thank you. I still don't believe you. It doesn't feel like it at all.
I think the last time you were on, we were barely planning the award ceremony and everything. Like we're starting to plan the next one already.
I don't like. Maybe it's because I did the video for the award ceremony, so it feels more recent. Maybe so. Yeah, but time sure is flying. It's
Very well could be. And I mean, it's been a busy year for both of us. You've done so many commentaries. Do you have a running tally of how many you've done this year?
This year, I don't know. I know I keep a letterbox list, so I've actually I'm up to like about 220 commentaries now that are officially out there. There's more in the can, but so yeah, probably I think this year I've done about maybe 45, 50.
On top of everything else that you do. That's remarkable. That's such an incredible achievement. One of the things, I mean, the big thing that lit up, at least for my friends on the internet today, this massive review of the Black Emmanuel box set. Is this really the longest review on Mondo Digital ever?
It really is, yeah. I think the folk horror box was actually the one before that. But yeah, this one beat it. This thing took me a week to write. I'm surprised nobody like wrote me in and be like, "You haven't reviewed anything in like 6 days, dude. What's going on? Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm working so hard, believe me."
I went through and scrolled through this, and I think everything is safe to share on YouTube. But God, the amount of work that you put into this is astonishing.
Well, not as much as the folks who put that set together. I mean, Kayla and company, like what they did with this thing is just ridiculous. I mean, I don't know how they pulled it off. If you know the rights issues with these movies and like just the sheer hell they had, because I mean, I know Severance wanted to do this thing for ages, and yeah, I don't believe they pulled it off. It's really remarkable.
I think the first time they mentioned it, like 3 or 4 years ago, they were only working on a batch of like 5 or 6. And then as they went on the journey, they just kept, ooh, maybe we can get these two. Oh, we did. Hey, maybe we can get these other. And it just kept piling up. It is crazy that they just released this many movies in a box set, and you have reviewed everything. And the coolest thing, for everybody that has never checked out Mondo Digital, which link is in the description below, please go give the time to Mondo Digital. I mean, the comparisons between the past releases of these, the deep dive minutia of like, this is the first time that these scenes have been added, and then the German scene that used to be in there. Nobody else does that. So thank you for that work.
Thank you. Yeah, it's all up here somehow.
You do everything that I wish I could do and more. It's incredible. Everybody watching tonight, please go support Nathaniel. One thing I want to say, I usually talk about pickups. Since the last time I talked to you, I was able to pick this up.
Yay, thank you.
This thing, again, another great work of art. I believe the link for that's in the description below, too. But this is the Fright Fest guide to vampire movies that you just put out last year, right? Like as we were talking last time, I think.
Yeah, we launched it at Fright Fest last year. So that was in August in the UK. It was a little toasty there. But yeah, it was a really fun weekend. Yeah, I love doing that. Yeah, it was great. Hope I can go do it again someday. They're great.
It is, I think, the third or fourth of the Fright Fest guides that I have, and it's not just because you're here. This is easily my favorite. Like one of the things we talked about when we did our interview last time was the wave between like zombie films and vampire films, and I'm so ready for another vampire wave. It is so necessary. We've been like on this desert plane for years on vampire films, and we need some good stuff. I thought Renfield might help, but nothing coming out yet, it seems like.
Well, one's opening day in theaters, actually, Last Voyage of the Demeter. So, you know.
It's true.
I hear it's great. I'm going to go see it this weekend. So, fingers crossed. I really want like an old school scary vampire movie.
It sounds like it might be delivering on that from what I've been reading. I mean, that's a good segue. You keep up on a lot of stuff. Anything recent that you watched that you want to share? Any thoughts about?
Oh, God. Well, I've been going to the theater a lot because, you know, I finally cracked and got my, you know, AMC pass again. So,
nice.
Catching up, did the whole Barbenheimer thing, did Talk to Me, did Haunted Mansion. I mean, it's like a lot of the mainstream stuff. I've just been, you know, going nuts in the theater, you know, like cashing that sucker in.
How do you feel about a Talk to Me sequel being announced already?
I'm not surprised. Yeah, it makes sense because the last 60 seconds is like the highlight of the movie. I mean, that movie sticks the landing. I don't want to say anything because I assume a lot of you haven't watched it yet, but yeah, it really pays off at the very end. The last scene, you're just like, ooh. So, yeah.
I loved a couple of the scenes, especially the one scene that everybody referred to that's almost, you know, Event Horizon or Society-esque in that. They did a really good job with that scene.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I'm glad it's doing well. It's A24's been on a roll. I mean, their batting average is pretty great.
And they're also one of the ones that are sticking to the strike and being able to work through, which is a great thing.
Yep.
I'm going to say hello to a handful of people. Terry's here. What's going on, Terry? Sulako, Ronnie. Hilton says Nathaniel's review of the manual box set is epic. Chef Boy Matt D, it's that time again. What's going on? Tony here from Australia. Terry says enjoyed Barbenheimer myself. Quite the double feature. What's up, Video Store? B. Miller, this is the highlight of my Thursday. Glad you're with us. Jake is here tonight. What's going on, Jake? 15 discs. Is that Emmanuel's 15 disc total? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Jeez.
And a big book.
Right. Yeah, that's the type of thing that I spend the most time on because they're so dense. I mean, the Severance stuff, and then I don't know how deep you are in Second Sight, but the stuff that they've been releasing, it's not just a novel. We're talking like 6 new essays, and I just dive in and I love it so much.
And for stuff that you can't believe, like Lake Mungo, I mean, do you have it? Have you held that thing? It's like that movie. It's like
I wonder if I can reach it. I can't. So this thing, for a movie that got underseen for years, and it got a booklet like this. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's a hefty. I was so shocked when mine came in. Like, wow, you guys really went the extra mile on this one. It's very substantial.
It really is. The other big thing to talk about this week, obviously, William Friedkin. A lot of people paid attention to him this week. The big one, obviously, Kino recently put out To Live and Die in LA on 4K. Did you get a chance to watch this disc yet?
I've not watched it yet. I have it, but I've not popped it in yet. I've been too busy watching Manuel movies.
Touche. You've been traveling around the world in risque scenarios. I get it.
I can't wait. I hear it looks beautiful.
I watched it Monday night with my family. It was the first time my wife had ever seen it. My mom had never seen it either, and we all watched it together. And man, that movie is 80s as hell.
How did they react to the big plot twist 10 minutes before the ending?
I mean, pretty well for the most part. It was first off, they were enamored with William Dafoe all night, so it was a nice journey to watch them go on. Let's see. Don't forget the Dash, says John. Even more impressive is the Apocrypha films. Saw a quote that said, "Dying must have been his idea because Friedkin took orders from no one." So Friedkin, what are some of your favorites from him, other than the obvious what we just talked about and The Exorcist?
There's obviously The Exorcist, French Connection, To Live and Die. Those are the big ones. I've always just been a huge fan of Cruising. I think it's crazy underrated. I just think it's like so creepy and so stylish and just bizarre. Like the fact that it was a mainstream release just blows my mind. But Cruising is fascinating. I really like the Brinks job, actually. Howard Berger and I did a commentary on that Blu-ray that Kino did. But that's one nobody ever remembers that one, that he even did it. That's a really funny film. He actually has a lot of comedies on his resume that nobody ever thinks about. Obviously, Sorcerer, of course, is a masterpiece that everybody finally caught up to. It took a while, but it's like regarded as like one of his top 5 movies ever. So, I mean, there's so many. I mean, I love The Guardian just because it's so just bonkers. Right. Just in the theater, just being like, what? This is not what I thought I was coming to see. But I have fond memories of just, oh yeah, Boys in the Band is great. Yeah, Boys in the Band is terrific. I mean, really not many duds in his filmography when you think about it. I mean,
it's true.
People think he sort of went into director jail because of Cruising and that he's in the wilderness for years, but it's like not. I mean, he's pretty consistent actually.
I was really sort of humbled this week thinking about the time frame of everything because we had just gotten The Exorcist release and it was hammered home 50th anniversary, and his death on top of that. And I was like, wait a minute. He was in his mid-30s and made one of the most formidable horror movies of all time with hardly anything below his belt before that would live up to the expectations of that. What a masterpiece to do there. I mean, the timing of that is just incredible.
Yeah. And it's like, I wonder if a movie is ever going to have quite that effect again. Like, I don't even know if it's possible, Like
that's a really good question.
Yeah, that. I mean, even like I remember when Alien came out, because I was a little kid. I remember when that opened, and like it did the same thing where people were just like, "Holy crap!"
Right?
Couldn't like it was the movie that you couldn't talk about. You're just like, "Oh, you just got to go see it." It's so shocking. People are coming out like shaking, But yeah, like you don't really get that so much anymore. It's too bad.
especially with the whole streaming model. I mean, that kind of dampens this whole thing because so many people are watching from home, and less people are talking about it around water coolers because that's not really a thing anymore. So that joint experience, you got to get something crazy like Barbenheimer to get everybody in the seats, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. But we need a horror Barbenheimer. It's got to happen.
That's true. And the crazy thing is it seems like the horror of the last couple of years, they make the money, but it takes a while to get it done. That word of mouth really has to spread. How do we get the Oppenheimer and Barbie seats where they're there opening weekend? And I don't know about you, but when I went to find it, I couldn't find a seat in a nearby theater for me. It took 2 days.
Oh, it was crazy. Yeah. Like for Barbie, I had to sit like in the third row in the corner with a friend of mine. And I was like, I don't care. It's fine. Whatever. It's not IMAX. Oppenheimer, there's no way I would have been dead, for 3 hours going like that. But I mean, just being in the lobby and seeing a packed lobby with a concession line out the door, and like either wearing pink or like 40s Oppenheimer hats. I mean, it was nuts. I mean, like who would have imagined that would ever happen? It was crazy.
I guarantee it paid for many theaters for like the next couple of months, just what they did that weekend.
Yeah. Sure, all the chains were just like,
all right, we're good till January. Everybody calm down. Zombies Ate My Arm wants to say he did win Best Picture for French Connection before he did Exorcist. Yeah, I'm not saying that necessarily, but Exorcist is kind of on a different level. It may not have won Best Picture necessarily earlier than French Connection, but it was a cultural touch point for an entire genre. French Connection is great. Everybody loves it, but I got to admit, it's no Exorcist. It's not like people are looking back at French Connection and saying, this is the one that everybody has to see, kind of like The Exorcist.
And French Connection is like just a very straightforward, gritty cop movie. Like Exorcist and Sorcerer and Cruising, they're like art films, kind of, which is bizarre. Exorcist, there's like no dialogue in the first 15 minutes. It's all in. I mean, it's like this weird little dream film at the beginning. I mean, that's crazy, And
I love the Exorcist documentary that's on Shudder that everybody's been watching since he passed away. I love that they spend the first like 20 minutes talking about those opening scenes, and freaking it's just like there was no meaning behind it. I was just just making a movie, and this is what happened. Why are you thinking there's meaning behind it? I love that.
It's like, I don't know. That's William Peter Blatty. He wrote it. Like, I would say one of my favorite memories actually is when I first moved to LA. That's around the time they released the Exorcist, the Virgin Never Seen in theaters. They did the big thing. Yeah. And so I went to go see it in Westwood. I think it was at the Crest. And but it was like opening weekend on Friday night. It was a packed house, all college students. And in the back of the theater, you couldn't miss them. You saw it was like these bright Dayglow orange tracksuits. And it was William Friedkin and William Peter Blatty were sitting in the very back row just to watch the audience. I don't know why they're wearing orange tracksuits together. Not a clue. But that's just burned into my head every time I think of the movie now.
They were going to go for a jog after the movie. They were just
running by UCLA. And like, I don't know.
Oh, freaking! That's amazing. I guess the other big thing that we touched about that it feels weird not to mention, it's not really related to movies, but Hawaii's kind of on fire right now.
Yeah, the aftermath. I've been watching the news today, just all the overhead stuff, and it's just breaking my heart. It's unimaginable. It kind of like makes me not want to watch disaster movies for a long time after you see it in person. It kind of ruins your taste for it.
Yeah, and I've never been able to go, and it's devastating to see an entire area just completely wiped out like we're seeing. It's not really I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, the devastation is for some of the shots they've showed, it's as far as you can possibly see. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Lahaina's kind of like the town that's like, if you want to go out for the night, that's where all the restaurants are, the clubs. I mean, it's all that stuff. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's 80% of it's gone. I'm like, jeez. That'd be like if you said, 80% of downtown LA is gone now. You're like, what? Like,
it doesn't even make logical sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't process it.
Man. Yeah. It seems like every week there's something new that's devastating. And that almost just seems like the last 20 years or so. So
pretty much.
We just carry on.
Every week we get new home video announcements to cheer us up, so that's good.
Well, on that note, let's start discussing some of those. First off, have you been feeling this last year about some of these announcements? Because obviously you got a very interesting finger on the pulse with these, with knowing what's coming out soon and worked on many of the discs. How do you feel this year compares to the last few years overall?
Well, even more now than ever, I think people who say physical media is dead are insane. They're like, oh, Disney's not doing physical media in Australia. I'm like, who cares? Like, there's more discs coming out now than at any point in my lifetime. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, it's like being on a really joyous treadmill, that like never stops, and you're always just like trying to keep up with it. I mean, it's like if you don't keep up with the stuff, you could miss like some of your favorite movies could get announced in a week, and you don't even know. I mean, you get labels like Kino and Indicator and all these and Dinner Syndrome. I mean, they announce so much stuff like every month, and it's like so. Sometimes you got to remember. Oh yeah, I forgot to get that. Yeah, it's it's an ongoing challenge.
When I first started doing Reconnected, it was 2 years ago this month now. And when I first started, I said, well, do I have a show if there's a week with no announcements? And first off, haha, that I thought that would be possible. But second off, I mean, I didn't think that there would ever be like more than, 30 or 50 in a week. And a week ago, we had 100 announcements to cover.
Yeah.
And that's not even 100 titles, 100 announcements. One of those had like 30 titles thanks to TerraVision. Yeah. I mean, it is wild what we are seeing right now. And then you start talking about Kino. I mean, they release 5 titles a week sometimes. That's a week.
At least, yeah.
That's more than some of these labels produce in 3 or 4 months. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling. I hope it lasts forever. I don't know if it will, but, keep it going. I mean, obviously we have enough movies, out there that have been released that the market's there for it. So yeah, bring it on. Yeah.
And Tony's pointing out he just bought the last 4K disc from Disney yesterday. Tony's in Australia. Awful to see Disney's titles on sale for $8 to $10. It's crazy that they're dropping out, but at the same time, if nobody's buying their titles, I don't see why they would keep putting them out necessarily. But I just hope that's where Imprint and Via Vision and Umbrella they hold up those banners and wave them high. I mean, it seems like the perfect time. Disney should just start licensing stuff there.
Exactly.
They're not going to do it.
Yeah, like they did with Anchor Bay if you remember back in the DVD days, they did a deal with Anchor Bay and they did a bunch of Disney stuff. Like, just license it out. Let Via Vision take it over. Let them do it. Why not? They could probably do a better job anyway. They know how to market it.
It's free money for them. It's not like they're spending anything on it.
Yep.
Well, we ready to go through our list of not 100, but still quite a few this week?
Let's do it.
First up is Wes Anderson's newest, Asteroid City, is coming out literally next week. This is a very late announcement on this. They're going to have a making of on this one, a trailer, and that's it. Did you get a chance to see Asteroid City?
I have seen it. First of all, why do we not have Wes Anderson on 4K? Like, that makes absolutely no sense.
Nothing in the Criterion Collection on 4K yet.
Not one. Like, how is that even possible? Yeah, I loved it. My favorite end credits of the year so far.
Wow.
Have you seen it yet?
I've not. Okay. I'm one of those that said maybe we should just wait for a Criterion, like the comment on here says. But at the same time, his last film hasn't even made it to Criterion yet. So
right, exactly.
They're still doing that.
It's beautifully shot. I mean, it looks incredible. It's a lot of fun. It's in keeping with his more recent films in that it's not really a story. It's more about characters who get plopped in a place and you kind of like hang out with them for the film, and then it's like they arrive, stuff happens, they leave. That's pretty much it. So it's not, it's not Rushmore. There isn't like a huge arc to it. But I really enjoyed it a lot. And like I said, the end credits are just the ending. Great.
What is your favorite Wes Anderson so far?
It's kind of depends on my mood. I would say it's a toss up between Tenenbaums, Grand Budapest, and Fantastic Mr. Fox. So they all kind of hit a different sweet spot.
That's literally my top 3. And it's so rare for people that like Wes Anderson to have the same favorites because, again, you got to be in that perfect mood. But most of the time for me, it's Mr. Fox. But a lot of times, Tenenbaums just hits that perfect spot too.
Yeah, just depends.
Exactly. Well, next is Kino Lorber announced Underground Aces from 1981. This is going to have a new 2K master, and we don't know anything else yet or when it's coming. I love these Kino things where they announce someday you'll get this, but who knows when.
Art not final.
Yeah, this one must be a while out because they don't have anything on this. Literally just the poster for it.
Yep. Well, good enough. I haven't seen it since it was on HBO when I was a little kid, and I barely remember it. So be nice to revisit because I don't remember a thing about it, honestly.
I don't think I've seen it, but Melanie Griffith and Michael Winslow being in a movie together like this seems interesting. Let's get into the Via Vision titles that are coming out. We've got the first one, Stephen King Collection, coming out October 18th in Australia. This one's interesting. A lot of people complained about this because some people still not understanding that Australian releases aren't necessarily made for US fans that have had these discs for years.
Right.
So just throwing out there again that this is an Australian release that is made for people in Australia.
Right.
This is going to have Needful Thing, Secret Window, Riding the Bullet, Bag of Bones, The Mist with a colorized and black and white version, and 1408 with the theatrical and director's cut. This will be a full 8-disc hardbox release. And, I mean, this is a pretty cool set if you don't have any of these.
It's kind of actually a big deal because I don't think the theatrical cut of 1408 has ever been out in HD aside from streaming, as far as I know.
Yeah.
I believe this is a first, and I actually think the theatrical cut ending is much better. Personally, they're very different endings. So
love that movie too.
Yeah, it's a great movie. But like one ending is really a downer, and one ending is not a downer. I'm glad you're gonna have both versions finally in the same spot because for some reason they haven't done that before.
Well, and this not guaranteeing this for anybody out there, but this is one that is possible. This could indicate another release coming in the U.S. eventually. Sibner says 1408 is on Blu-ray, yes, but not with both cuts. I don't think.
Yeah, I think it's only the second cut, the director's cut, or whatever they call it. Yeah.
And Tony says Needful Things will also include the 3-hour TV cut.
Right.
Nice. They also announced Grindhouse, which this is going to have 4 discs total. This will have the extended release and the theatrical release of both films and pretty much all of the special features. I think this had everything that we've had on these discs. It's got all the fake trailers, all the making of the optional commentary on all the trailers and everything. I mean, this, again, looks like a pretty freaking great release. If you don't have these, only 1,000 copies, individually numbered, big, nice 3D lenticular hard case. This is scratching all those itches if you want this one.
Yep, that's a great release.
And then finally, sort of to match that one, Drag Me to Hell. Again, 1,000 copies only, individually numbered, includes the theatrical and the unrated cut. And on this one, it says special features TBC. I'm hoping that they have some new stuff on this one.
They do.
They do, says Nathaniel. Interesting.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't gotten the official go-ahead, but yeah, I was involved in some capacity in this, and that's all I can say at the moment. So I guess.
Well, for my speculation on behalf of everybody, Nathaniel Thompson is mostly known for commentaries. And that reminds me, I got to ask, do you do video essays hardly ever?
I do not, because it's, well, first of all, I don't have time.
Right.
And there's so many people who don't do them so well. It's like, you don't need me to do them. You know, it's like, I love doing commentaries. The video essays out there are so great. I mean, it's a crowded field. Let them do it. Someday, maybe. We'll see.
I just edited one that hasn't been announced yet. And I love seeing those things come together. And when they come out and it's just this masterpiece sort of, not that the one that I did is a masterpiece, but just to see the formation of everything that is this thought to accompany an already made cinematic great piece. And man, the context you can give onto a film and make it so much better. It's an honor to be involved in some of those things. I love that.
Yeah. And it's still kind of I don't know if I want to call it an art form. It's kind of it's like one of the more recent developments on the special features side that's really taken off. So yeah, I'm really curious to see where it goes in the next couple of years. Because it feels like it's still kind of in its infancy, you know?
Yeah. And that's what excites me about the ones that are, ranging from, a 12-minute hot take basically on some of these films to, Howard S. Berger talking about something for 73 minutes. And you're like, well, the movie's 85 minutes. That's basically a commentary.
Yeah, the one he did for the Adamson box, the Dracula vs. Frankenstein video essay, I was like, oh my God, this is like the ultimate like scholarly deep dive into this movie. It's like your brain hurts by the time you're done watching it. Like you can pull that much stuff out of that movie. It's nuts.
Yeah, gotta love stuff like that. I think Daniel Kramer on the Sidney J. Fury one, he's got one that's like 58 minutes on one of the movies.
He's all over that set. Yeah. Mine's still in the mail. I can't wait to jump into it though when it shows up.
And if I don't get a chance to get that set before it goes out of print, I'm going to be upset. I need that thing.
Yeah, it's insane what they put into that set. I don't know how they pulled it off. Ooh, The Terror. The
Terror is coming on December 12th from Film Masters. And God, I mean, first off, I know that it used to be another company, but they've only announced like 3 or 4 things so far under the Film Masters banner.
Right.
They're all kind of amazing sounding. So this one has the tear on it, but then special features is where this shines as well. We've got Hollywood Intruders, the film group story, Part 2, an original Ballyhoo Motion Pictures production. Part 1 is on another release of theirs. And then full-length commentary on the terror by C. Courtney Joyner and Steve Haberman. Then another full-length commentary for Little Shop of Horrors, which is a bonus HD print on this one as well. That one's by Justin Humphreys and a special guest. Not sure who that is. And then a full-color booklet with original essays. One of them by somebody we just mentioned, featurette by Howard S. Berger, is going to provide a fresh look at the terror as a little visual essay on there.
Can I just say, I don't know if Justin ever watches the show, but Justin, if you're listening, if your special guest isn't Audrey Jr., I'm going to be very perturbed.
Let's see. Stan says the Little Shop print restored. I will try to get an answer for that, but I believe it's probably just a new. I mean, it does say new HD restoration, but that's the terror, I guess. It just says with a bonus HD print, so probably just a new scan.
Yeah,
maybe not a full restoration.
Yeah, I mean, there was an HD version of it on way back. Legend Films did a Blu-ray with the colorized Little Shop, and kind of like in the fine print, they're like, oh, also includes the black and white one in HD. And it's like, what? But that actually looked pretty decent. So if they can outdo that one, I'll be happy, as long as it's above that, which that wasn't bad in the first place.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, this looks like a pretty damn solid release, and you get 2 movies for fairly low price. Their stuff has been fairly inexpensive so far. Man, have you checked out Curzon Film yet at all?
Oh yeah.
So they have improved drastically. They used to be one that people, especially on like the Blu-ray.com forums, used to complain about literally every single day for missing subtitles or bad coloring or a stretched aspect ratio for God knows what. But suddenly, Curzon is coming out as something that people are aspiring to be like, and they are releasing on September 25th, Breaking the Waves on 4K from 1996. This is a UK label, so it'll be out in the UK. This is going to have a commentary with Lars von Trier and Anders Refn, excerpts from the documentary Traceformer, a portrait of Lars von Trier from 1997, interview with Adrian Rollins, Emily Watson's casting tape, a promo clip from Cannes in 96, some deleted and extended scenes and trailers. But really, all of this is to attach to this masterpiece. They're releasing on September 25th the Lars von Trier Collection, which this is, I believe, the 4th of these kind of giant box sets that look like this that they've put out. They've done the Colors trilogy, the Secret Life or Double Life of Ronique. They've done the Ruben Östlund set that is just hitting the U.S. shores now, and then this thing. And oh my gosh, this looks amazing.
Yeah, they've come a long way. I remember some of their earlier box sets. I remember being really annoyed with the Louis Malle set they put out because the color timing on that was a disaster. Like all those movies, a mess. But yeah, they've definitely upped their game lately. Yeah, I'm really curious how Breaking the Waves is going to look in 4K. If you know the movie, you know why. So we'll see. I'm very, very curious.
So the whole collection is going to have 14 Blu-rays in it, including 7 restored films. You notice it says 14 Blu-rays. So if you want Breaking the Waves on 4K, you got to get it separately from this box set, which is an interesting choice. But in these, we're going to have Element of Crime. That one's restored. Epidemic. That one's restored. Europa is restored. Breaking the Waves is the restored version. The Idiots, that's restored. Dogville is restored. And then the 5 Obstructions, Manderley, the boss of it all, that one's also restored. Antichrist, Melancholia, Nymphomaniac, the Director's Cut, Volume 1 and 2, and then The House That Jack Built. But then the bread and butter here, 12 plus hours of special features, including interviews with Lars von Trier himself and cast, commentaries, behind the scenes, featurettes, cutscene tape, extended deleted scenes, and theatrical trailers for pretty much everything. This looks wild.
Yeah. I think this is the first time The Idiots has ever been in HD anywhere, so that's pretty cool too.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that. Wave says, heard there was bad encoding on the Wim Wenders set recently. Waiting to see for the Lars set. I have not heard that. Interesting. Yeah, what's going on with Dancer in the Dark? Have you heard anything about why that wouldn't be included, maybe?
Well, it's Warner Brothers, so.
Yeah. Let's see. Joe Jack is excited for this. Jeremy says this is a must-have. Jeremy says, don't forget about the Vim Vendor set. I don't know why I said that or forgot to say it and then mentioned it a minute later about something else. Let's see. This will be the first Cruzone release that Paul gets. Nice. Too nice of a release to pass up. And then Sibner says, not a big Lars von Trier fan, while Wave says, huge Lars fan.
That's kind of par for the course, 50-50 with him.
Especially with the films. I mean, there's some that you can absolutely love and be thrilled with and go, this one was kind of not my style at all.
Just walk into like a film club and just go, Antichrist, and see what happens.
The first thing you'd hear is 7 people go, did you know that Willem Dafoe had to have... I don't even have to finish the anecdote. Everybody knows what I was about to say there because everybody's heard it 30,000 times. Interesting. Okay, so I love Third Window Films. I don't think enough people look at Third Window Films as one of the better boutique labels. So they announced some really cool stuff. September 25th in the UK, they are releasing The Guard from Underground as part of the Director's Company collection. And this is going to have a new digital restoration from the OCN, new audio commentary by Tom Mess, who is incredible. Interview with Takashi Ukoma, Kiyoshi Kurosawa talk at the premiere of the new Master trailer, a slipcover on this with artwork from Gokaiju, and then Director's Company edition featuring an insert by Jasper Sharp, who's also great. He's done a lot for like Arrow, I think is the one that he's worked with the most over time. Third Window, you pay attention to them much, Nathaniel?
I love them. They are like one of those labels where you can pretty much blind buy anything they put out. They have great taste. I've never been let down by one of their titles ever. And these ones look great too. Can't wait. What
are a couple of your favorites from Third Window?
Oh god, well, Stardust Brothers, I think, is one of my very favorites that they ever put out. That was a total joy. Honestly, all of it. Everything, even like the really super out there wacky ones. I mean, it's all been great. They've just been on such a streak. The only complaint is like they only press like fairly small quantities. So like if you don't get them right away, it's like you'll be waiting a long time for it to come back in stock somewhere. So yeah, if you want it, jump fast because they tend to go out of stock really quickly.
And that's a fairly new thing for them. Like since 2019 or so, they've been doing Blu-rays for a long time. And some of those early ones, they printed like 1,000 of them, and they were in print for like 7 years. And like, how did we go this long for a masterpiece title to go out of print? And it's been nice to see them start to get more attention. But agreed, it's kind of hard to stay on top of them. Let's see. Never bought from Third Window, says Wave. It's a good place to jump in here for sure. Let's see. Oh, Stan. Stan is saying happy birthday to my son. Thanks, Stan. Third Window is useful to supplement the Shinya Tsukamoto set from Arrow. Yeah. Did you see the new trailer for his new movie?
No.
It looks pretty dang interesting.
Ooh, okay.
Super dramatic, and I think it's supposed to premiere here at what is the next one? Is it TIFF that it was premiering at or something like that?
I'm gonna go look it up when we're done though.
One of the film festivals, yeah, coming soon. The next Director's Company title is Door, but this is a double feature. This is Door and Door 2. And you'll remember TerraVision also just announced Door recently, but they never said anything about the sequel. So if you want both, you may want to grab this, although TerraVision is probably going to have a different set of features. They're seeming to do new features for almost everything that they're putting out. So I would take a look at this if you want both of them. And it does say that this disc is region free. So that is a good thing if you are not there. This is going to have on Door 1 a new audio commentary by Jasper Sharp, interview with the director on there, slipcover, a reversible sleeve. Doesn't say much of anything for Door 2, so that could just be the bonus feature, basically, that they're including that as an extra. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Paul, a new Tsukamoto. For some reason, I don't remember the title, unfortunately. Stan is not familiar with Third Window. Literally, only Asian. That's all they put out, but they do stuff that is not getting love anywhere else. A couple of their titles have had competing things like, I think the Stardust Brothers, didn't that also get a release from SRS Cinema or something?
Yeah, skip the American release. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Exactly. They did it first and they did it best. It had a soundtrack CD. Oh my God, I flipped out when I watched that movie. It's an amazing release.
Right. The big thing that Third Window has done recently, obviously, is they brought a title that swept the nation with a brand new, we were just talking about needing to get away from the zombies, and I think they put out the sequel to that as well. And Kino's about to release a remake of that as well. What is the title of that?
You're talking about the Final Cut's the French one?
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah, One Cut of the Dead.
Cut of the Dead, that's the title. I think they had the second one that they put out also.
Yeah.
All right, and then the third one from Third Window is Typhoon Club. This is from 1985. This is coming November 27th. This one is also going to be region free. This is a 2,000 limit release. It's going to have a commentary by Tom Mess, selected audio commentary by Josh Slater-Williams. Not sure what selected audio commentary means there. Assistant director Koji Enokido is going to talk at an event, and you got a featurette there. Introduction by Ryusuke Hamaguchi at the Berlin Film Festival. And Director's Company edition featuring an insert by Jasper Sharp again. These look pretty dang solid, and I love the whole stylized similarly between the three that they're doing here.
Yeah, can't wait.
Ronnie says, too many interesting looking boutique labels, not enough time or money. You're talking to the person that just watched Black Emmanuel for 6.5 days. and me, who has interviewed somebody new every day for the last 2 years. So I agree. Not enough time or money for sure.
What is this time you speak of? I don't know what that is.
How much sleep do you get every night, Nathaniel?
Not enough. Definitely not. Whatever it is, it's not enough.
I get about half of what my doctor would probably recommend. Let's see. Sibner says select might mean that it dips in and out depending on scenes they commented on rather than yes, I assume that's what it means, but it was the oddest way to say that. Usually it would be select scene commentary. Oh man. This mess. I totally forgot this was this week. So Full Moon announced that on December 12th they are putting out Blue Rita by Jess Franco from 1977. And the big thing is they used the altered artwork from a German bootleg of this movie that was made by an artist named Dave Nessler and did not get his permission.
Yep, correct. And that is not official artwork for this movie. So, yeah, oops.
This is just Full Moon all through and through sometimes.
Yeah. Let's just say if you have the German Blu-ray of this one, you're probably good.
And thankfully I do.
Yeah.
If you're into this one, you got Chris Alexander, Peter Strickland about Jess Franco from 2013. Vintage Jess Franco trailer reel, rare photo gallery, and the original Euroscene trailers, because I think all of those were on that German Blu-ray. Because that's about when it came out.
Yep.
The Meg 2, The Trench, is getting a Best Buy exclusive 4K steelbook, and you can pre-order it now.
Yes. The most typical Ben Wheatley movie ever.
The Meg 2.
It's like, of course, it's the guy to Kill List. Naturally.
I love Kill List too. All right, Horrors of the Black Museum from 1959 is somehow coming from VCI. So this is kind of an interesting story. Synapse came out and said that they originally had the rights and they were going to be putting this out on Blu-ray, but they couldn't find the elements. And so they gave up, literally. And then out of nowhere, Studio Canal says, hey, we have those elements that you were looking for. And they said, well, great. Now we're not doing it. Thanks. And VCI is taking up the reins, and they are doing it. And Synapse gave them their blessing. It does sound like, thankfully, this will be one of those releases that VCI actually puts some decent effort into. This is going to have a lot of stuff on here. We got a new 2023 4K scan of the original 35mm Film Masters, archival commentary by Herman Cohen, a brand new commentary by Robert Kelly, who is a noted film historian and artist, the original trailer and European trailer, a photo gallery, a two-sided cover wrap is what they're calling it, featuring the original theatrical art and a flip side with a new graphic design by Robert Kelly, a video tribute to Herman Cohen on there, archival phone interview with Herman Cohen, and then the original U.S. Hypnovista opening featuring psychologist Emil Frankel. This sounds like it could be a pretty damn cool release.
I hope so. As long as the movie looks good, that's always the wild card with them. You never know. So,
VCI, they are very interesting. I mean, they've got, funny enough, they've got some really great titles. Like there's some Mexican horror films that you can't get anywhere else other than through VCI. Unfortunately, they're burned discs with a very cheaply printed art on the outside, and the scans are not good, is probably the most kosher way to say that.
And not great compression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that they treat this with respect, and it sounds like they're going to be working with Studio Canal, so that could be a good thing.
Yep. Yeah. As long as they get a good scan, they leave the scan alone once they get it, then we're fine. If it's more children shouldn't play with dead things 4K and less like puzzle, then we're all good to go.
Yeah, the puzzle thing that irked me, and then they did Night of the Bloody Apes.
Ooh, yeah,
and
that was a huge screw up.
And that was, I think they're the only ones to release that on Blu-ray so far, right?
Yeah, I'm sure someone somewhere else is going to do it right because they completely botched that one.
Well, and how did Severin not get that when they're trying to do all the video nasties?
I know. Someday.
It's disappointing.
Yep.
Video Vengeance is bad, or sorry, Visual Vengeance. That's the name. Visual Vengeance. Have you paid any attention to them? Have you checked out any of these yet?
I haven't checked them out yet, but I know I have pitched in on some titles that are coming up. That's all I'm going to say. So yeah, I am very familiar with them, and they're great guys.
They are back with a vengeance, pun intended. They've announced, I believe, 4 titles now coming for this fall so far, with definitely more on the way. This one is Lichen Colony. This is coming on October 24th. This is a film from 2006, and I love the way this one sounds. So I'm going to read the synopsis. It says, a disgraced alcoholic surgeon, which love that already, moves with his family to a small town in New Hampshire. Unknown to them, the entire town is populated with werewolves. Some good and others very evil. They soon find themselves thrust into an ancient mystical battle between the wolf packs that will change their family forever. Oh boy. An astoundingly ambitious and riveting example of pure outsider cinema, Lichen Colony's reputation is well earned as every bizarre creative decision unfolds and you are dropped into its metaphysical alternate reality. Lichen Colony now enjoys its first time ever on Blu-ray and is packed with bonus features, including the full Riff Tracks version and a brand new interview with the writer, producer, director, Rob Roy. So we do get that audio commentary with Rob Roy, another audio commentary with Sam Panico of BNS About Movies, Bill Van Ryn of Drive-In Asylum, a new 2022 interview with Rob Roy, the full Riff Tracks version of Lichen Colony, a blooper reel, Lichen Colony music video, trailer, other Visual Vengeance trailers, 4-page liner notes and an essay by Sam Panico, collectible folded mini poster, stick your own VHS sticker set, reversible sleeve, subtitles, and then a slipcover on it with a New Hampshire forest scent air freshener included in the first pressing only. These are pretty damn cool. They put so much into these, it's hard not to like them, at least a little bit.
Is this only the second box set that comes with an air freshener after Burt Reynolds?
Ooh.
I can't think of another one off the top of my head.
Didn't Air 444, that Fatal Termination, I think that pre-order had an air freshener too.
Oh, that's right. Well, yeah. Okay, so these will be tied with each other then. So
yeah.
That's right.
I wonder if there's something else. There probably was. I feel like there was a Grindhouse releasing back in the day that had one.
Could be, yeah. I don't know. Well, anyway, we need more of them, though. I'm surprised more people have done that.
Either way, I'm sure a lot of collectors need some air fresheners in their movie rooms. So that will help a lot of us. So we got Lichen Colony coming. And then they also announced that on October 24th, more vampires to go with tonight's theme. Vampires and Other Stereotypes from 1994. This one is going to have a new director supervised SD master from a 1-inch tape, over 7 hours of new bonus content, including an audio commentary with the director, audio commentary with actor Mick McCleary and the director, audio commentary with Tony Strauss of Wayne's Chop magazine, director Kevin Lindenmuth interview, actress Laura McLaughlin interview, actor Mick McCleary interview, Suzanne Turner interview, Sally Nark. I mean, we got everybody on this. The makeup effects artist, special effects artist, photographer, the publicist interview. They got everybody that ever touched this movie, it sounds like. 6-page liner notes by Tony Strauss of Wayne's Shop magazine, and then stickers, a collectible folded mini poster, reversible sleeve, and then English subs as usual. Again, just a solid release.
But no blood air freshener.
That's true. Terry says a couple of Umbrella releases had air fresheners other than Burt Reynolds. I think the release of Heavy Metal was one.
That's right. They did. I forgot about that.
Sibner says Edward Scissorhands did the limited edition studio release.
See, more people should do this then. Yeah.
Paul says there should be a 7 release with air fresheners. A nice little potpourri box. Knowing Fincher will be housed in a full-size model of the Devil Knife. Oh, that's perfect.
Inside a cardboard box, of course.
Of course. All right, we got a return this week of another cool line that Studio Canal has done, and then they went immediately silent after releasing 3 of them. 3 more are coming from the Cult Classics line, all on September 11th. This first one is Blazing Magnum from 1976. New restoration of this cop thriller, directed by Alberto De Martino, starring Stuart Whitman, John Saxon, and Oscar winner Martin Landau. This is going to have a new special sentiments. Alberto De Martino's Magnum Memories New City Hunter interview with film historian Kim Newman on this, which is awesome. And here is the back of this one. Yeah, I mean, this looks like a fun release.
Yeah, that's a good one. I know was it Scorpion or Code Red put a Blu-ray out over here under the title Strange Shadows in an Empty Room from MGM, but it sounds like this is a different, newer master, so that'll be nice because that's a little rough. So,
of course. Then the second one is The Antichrist. This is from 1974. I believe Kino put this out fairly recently.
Yep.
And then here is the back on that one. This is going to have the audio recollections of Alberto De Martino, Raising Hell featuring Alberto De Martino and Ennio Morricone, audio commentary with Lee Gambin and Sally Christie, which I believe was on the Kino disc.
Yep.
And yeah, if you don't have it, this looks like a pretty decent way to pick this up. The What's in the Box edition. Love it. And then finally, oh wait, was it only 2?
I think it was only 2.
Dang, it was only 2. Okay. Kino Lorber announced that they're releasing Sneakers on 4K from 1992. Yeah. This one, it's great that this is coming out, but I know a lot of people that last year they purchased that release from Plumeria Pictures that came out in the UK. So I'm sure a lot of people are kicking themselves, no pun intended with the sneakers there, now.
Yeah, boy, we need a new scan of this movie so bad, though. I love how we're finally checking off all those 90s Universal titles that always look like garbage on Blu-ray and DVD. They're finally actually doing them right. We got through all the 80s ones. Now it's time for the 90s catalog to get done. So let's do Son of a Woman and Fried Green Tomatoes and all that stuff. Because, yeah, they're way overdue.
This is going to sound so weird for this channel, but I can't even remember who I was talking about. But twice in the last month, I've been begging somebody just offline, just shooting the shit about titles we'd love to see. And I kept saying, when are we going to get a wonderful 4K of Fried Green Tomatoes?
Yeah.
I grew up with a Mormon grandma who used to watch Fried Green Tomatoes every single night. And as a 5-year-old, first of all, why am I 5 and watching that movie? But second of all, I love that movie, and I would love to see that.
I'm assuming the cannibalism plot twist probably went right over your head.
Oh, yeah. I think the only thing that was burned into my brain was the train scene accident. Yeah. And then, of course, I grew up to be a conductor on the railroad. Oh, look at that. Craig from Deaf Crocodiles here says Sneakers was a fun flick. And he says, no judging, Fried Green Tomatoes is good. Good. Stan Geezy, River Phoenix is so fascinating in this film. Everybody. I remember this being really good.
Yeah, it's really fun. A great James Horner score, too. So, yeah, if we get a nice sound mix, a nice 4K scan, this should really shine.
Paul says, would love to see me interview Kim Newman. You know, me too. Kim Newman is fantastic. I would love that. Speaking of interviews, this week I put up an interview with Rich Johnson, who is an educator and a writer. He contributes to Fangoria. He was recently in the Second Sight release of The Changeling. He is in a couple of the upcoming releases from Second Sight, and this is a super interesting conversation. We mostly talk about teaching for like the first half hour. So if you're into that, I would say check it out.
Excellent.
The big one, Possession, got announced as coming on 4K from Second Sight. After we got the Umbrella announcement last week. We don't know when this is coming, but they did say it's coming soon. A very special edition of this classic is in the works, featuring their own new restoration. So they are doing different things on top of the scan that Umbrella got as well, which Umbrella probably did their own touch-up parts as well. The Second Sight is going to be supervised by camera operator Andrzej Jirashevich. I'm probably saying that very wrong. And Daniel Bird, based on the grading notes by Andrzej Żuławski himself. New exclusive bonus content and more. We don't know when it's coming, but it's coming soon. And they also hinted at the same time that they did this that The Hitcher looks like it will be early in 2024, even though they were shooting for 2023.
Well, whatever it is, can't wait. And yeah, I mean, now I'm sort of disappointed about the French UHD of Possession because it sounds like this is going to completely smother it. So, oh well.
Well, and Possession is one of those titles that it's gotten many, many releases, and it's probably going to get a handful more. It'll probably get a US UHD at some point. I'd love to find out if it's still with Mondovision, because the rumor was they still have it.
If they still exist, but yeah, I guess.
I think it was last year, somebody I knew on Facebook, I think it was, messaged them, and they said they are still working on some of the other titles that they had semi-announced like 5 years ago.
Wow.
Which, now, of course, Eureka is releasing those.
Right.
What's going on with Mondovision?
Yeah, a little late, but
well, and not to mention their limited edition of Possession that they released on Blu-ray is the most unlimited edition I've ever seen. It's said very low quantities, I think, for the last 5.5 years now, at least.
It's like American Buffalo from Twilight Time. He was like, seriously, it's almost gone for 3 years. $5, really? It's going.
Craig says, how many people have restored this? Isn't this the third restoration? At least.
1, 2, yeah.
Terry says, we keep censoring them that way, and a fetish for square nipples could develop. Yeah, Stan, I agree. Interesting aspect ratio on the artwork. I don't think I've ever seen the portrait version of this before like that. Next up, TerraVision announced a super interesting thing coming out this week. So this is, I think it's pronounced Joe Zasso. This is the Joe Zasso collection, but it seems to be a part of a line called Lost in the 80s. It looks like we may have more of these coming soon, which is super exciting. So this, they say Lost in the 80s is the first in a series of releases preserving media throughout thought lost, pulled from the brink of extinction by TerraVision. And about this one, between the ages of 13 and 18, filmmaker Joe Zasso made 4 movies with his family and friends. On foot, by mail, and by phone, the young director marketed his creations to area video stores, earning shelf space among commercial studio tapes. Once rental stores fell by the wayside, Zasso's movies were relegated to tape trading and bootleg circles, where their legend continued to grow. This has Scream Book from 1984, Scream Book 2 from 85, Maligno from 86, and It's Only a Movie from 1990. This is going to have a commentary with Joe Zasso himself for all 4 films, interviews with Joe and Tim Frey, interviews with the cast and crew. It's Only a Movie is also going to be in black and white on here. Some isolated scores, new captions. But the cool thing, if you are a TerraVision subscriber, these 4 films only counts as one of your subscription titles. That's really damn cool.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. Like the fact that they are really like helping the customers out lately. TerraVision is sort of coming into play as one of the top labels at the moment.
Yeah, I've been very happy with my subscription so far. I re-upped it, and I'm not sorry, especially after that list they released. So yeah.
Nice. Joe Jack says the trailer on this was really out there. It was. This is a very interesting trailer. I'm curious to see how this turns out. Talk to Me is getting a US side 4K on October 17th from A24 and Lionsgate. There is also going to be an Amazon exclusive version, and it looks like this hand version is going to be the retail version. This character version holding the hand is going to be the Amazon exclusive, and that one will include a 23-minute Q&A with the directors that the other one may not at the moment. Not sure how that's working out. Amazon doesn't really give great details. But yeah, you can pre-order both of those now. And I'm curious, they supposedly got greenlit for a sequel, but they've been letting loose that in the production of this, they also filmed a prequel. So it's kind of fuzzy right now if the sequel is that prequel, or if we're going to get like a prequel as a bonus feature or something.
Or they're pulling like an X and Pearl kind of thing where we wind up getting 3 movies out of the blue that we didn't know about. So who knows?
That would be interesting.
It would. I gotta say that I don't understand why they don't offer the poster art on either version, though.
Yeah,
because I kind of like it better. But
I did too. Yeah, they had some really good imagery with this film.
Yeah. I don't know the little Photoshop phone flashes. I don't know. Not feeling it, but whatever. The movie's the important thing, so whatever.
True. Ride On with Jackie Chan is coming on October 24th from Wellgo USA, and I love that he's still doing stuff like this. So this one says it follows: Jackie Chan is a washed-up stuntman who can barely make ends meet, let alone take care of his beloved stunt horse, Red Hair. The man reluctantly seeks help from his estranged daughter and her lawyer boyfriend When notified that the horse may be auctioned off to cover his debts, unexpectedly, the stuntman and the horse become overnight media sensations when their real-life fight with debt collectors goes viral. That earns this stuntman a second chance to choose between his movie career and his family. His made-for-TV type of movies that he's been doing over the last handful of years are super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Tony says, no Australian release yet announced for Talk to Me, which is interesting since it's an Australian film. That's sad.
It doesn't make any sense.
That is super. And I think it came out in 2022 in Australia even.
Are they afraid everybody's going to try to imitate it? Or
what's going on, Silent Mandible? Let's see. Next up, coming out October 17th from RLJE is The Dive from this year. Have you had a chance to see this one yet?
I have not seen it.
The trailer looked interesting. This looked like one of those movies that's like 72 minutes of lead in to like 14 minutes of action. So I'm interested in seeing it. This is a big one for a lot of people this week. The Mist from 2007 getting a 4-disc 4K release coming from Lionsgate on October 3rd. And if I remember right, I think this is the first 4K release from, and I have to say this specifically because somebody on Twitter tried to argue with me, from the Weinstein Company, the actual title, the Weinstein Company. Because I know that they had Pulp Fiction and a couple others, whatever, but the Weinstein Company itself, I think this is the first one, which could indicate more finally being released from those clutches.
That would be nice because there's more Tarantinos and a lot of horror movies that we badly need. So that'll be great.
And this one is going to have Dolby Vision HDR presentation of the film and the black and white version and a full-blown Dolby Atmos track.
That and Atmos could mess you up pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this release. I'm super stoked on this. And I know, like Sibner is saying right now, I'm afraid how those crappy effects are going to come out in 4K. I agree. The colorized version is not great when you look at those effects. However, they look surprisingly decent on the black and white version. So I'm excited to check that out in 4K.
Yep.
If anything, give Darabont some money to rework the effects. They should have done that, 10 years ago.
But those effects look, I mean, even when that came out, I remember seeing the theater and those effects look pretty ropey, even on the big screen when it came out. So, yeah. But then you watch the black and white one, I was like, oh, okay, way better. I think just the color they chose was kind of like, didn't really work. And it just looked really fake. So,
I agree there. This one surprised the hell out of me. October 3rd, Universal is releasing, as part of the Universal Essentials Collection, It Came from Outer Space on 4K. This is the 1953 film. It's going to include a 4K UHD, a Blu-ray, digital copy of It Came from Outer Space. It will also have It Came from Outer Space in 3D on Blu-ray. It's going to have some of the commentaries that they've had with like Tom Weaver and some other trailers and stuff. But a really cool thing with a film cell replica, a slipcase, certificate of authenticity, art cards, a booklet. This is kind of crazy for Universal.
Yeah, I don't know where this came from or what inspired them to do this, but I'm really glad. I hope it means they'll do like This Island Earth on 4K because that would look ridiculous if they do something like that.
Yeah, I mean some of the Universal stuff that if they're calling this Essentials, they have some other pretty great Essentials that could come out.
Mm-hmm.
B. Miller is stoked for that Dolby Atmos. Nice. Let's see what is next. October 17th from Wellgo, who just again pumps out films that I never even knew was being made. 3 Days in Malay. This one stars Quentin Rampage Jackson, and I know nothing about it.
Who knows?
The Mist is also getting a Best Buy exclusive 4K steelbook with one of the Lionsgate slipcovers. How do you feel about this art?
Does anyone like this art? I mean, it seems I don't know. I'm not going to go for it. I'm going to go for the regular one.
I had about 90% that agreed with me, and it seems like you that said, "Why does this look so goofy?" And then like 10% said, "Oh my gosh, this is really cool. I'm so glad they did this." Really?
Okay.
I mean, cool.
Yeah, some folks are going to buy it. Yeah, I agree. Terrible.
A lot of people are going to just because it's a steelbook. That's the crazy thing. And I get what they were going for, the whole window looking thing, but no, it didn't really work.
Yeah. Speaking of working,
what is this?
No one knows.
I mean, first off, we talked about exploited titles a moment ago with Possession. First off, these get new releases every single fall.
Yeah.
How are we getting this?
And what is that? I don't understand what this is. Like, I don't even know where to begin with this.
October 3rd, 4K, Universal is releasing the Universal Classic Monsters Limited Edition 4K collection. This will include a 4K and Blu-ray and digital copy for all of the films. We have Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, The Invisible Man, The Bride of Frankenstein, The Wolfman, Phantom of the Opera, and Creature from the Black Lagoon. The same way they've released these, exact same discs. I think this is the third time already the 4K discs have been released, let alone the number of times they came out on Blu-ray, the number of times they came out on DVD, which was huge number, by the way. And then they even got multiple releases on VHS. These have to be some of the most milk titles ever.
And we still don't have Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman or Abbott and Costello beat Frankenstein in 4K yet. Like, come on.
This is wild. Terry says they didn't want to do Volume 3 this year, which they absolutely should have.
Right.
Tony says, I prefer the original box sets, not that artwork. I think most people would agree. Stan says, psychedelic. Past the Paul says, genuinely hate that cover. Makes it out to be only Frankenstein or that he's the most important monster. Exactly. Except not only is the most important monster, it looks like he's wearing like a Johnny Carson turban.
Yeah, like by way of like Phyllis Diller or something.
Right.
I don't get it. I really don't. I don't know what they're going for there at all.
I am so confused. I mean, the book is cool and all that, but yeah. And yeah, never new extras on these. Ain't that the truth? But also, we just announced Universal Essentials Collection. Wouldn't this make sense to be a part of the Universal Essentials Collection if you're going to do that?
Right.
Anyways, carrying on, Unearthed is releasing Full Body Massage by Nicholas Rogue. This is coming on November 7th. Mimi Rogers and Brian Brown. This one, a lot of people surprisingly excited for, from what I've seen.
It's a cool movie, and this never played theaters, so we've only seen it either on cable TV, which is where it played, or on VHS, so I'm really curious to see what this looks like, because it was shot on film, so I think it's going to feel kind of different, like actually having it be clear and actually look like 35 millimeter. I'm very curious about it, but yeah, it's a really good movie.
Unearthed has been surprisingly branching out quite a bit over the last couple of years, and this seems to continue that. Obviously they're doing the August Underground stuff, which is very on brand, I admit, but then you have this and No Escape and Untold Story and so many things that they've just come out and done a really, really great job with. Right? Mm-hmm. Hope it continues.
Yeah, hope so.
And then we have this. So Sony Pictures Classics, I guess, is getting a mod release from Sony on September 26th of Nil by Mouth, which just got a beautiful BFI release last year that they could have literally just taken that disc, printed it here, and made gobs of money and done great by the collectors. But we get a mod disc that is going to have nothing on it but a trailer. First off, how do you feel about this movie, Nathaniel?
You got to be in the mood for it. It's a very well-made film, but it is very grim. But it's a great film. But yeah, if you have the BFI one, I'm pretty sure this is going to smoke this one, because Sony has kind of a spotty track record with these MOD releases. I'm still kind of stinging from what they did with Heist, which was not cool.
I did want to clear up for some people that saw this post and they thought mod immediately meant a burned disc. This will be a pressed disc.
Yeah,
but it's still going to be lower quality than the normal ones, and it's just the movie and a trailer, and they have so much out there available. They could have done so much better, especially for Sony Pictures Classics, which is a brand that actually has had some pedigree. This is a big deal brand for them. Yeah. Christopher Silvestri from Facebook. Nathaniel is the king of commentary.
Well, thank you, but there are a lot of kings and queens of commentary out there, so
there is a lot of them. That's for sure. Next up is another Sony mod of I don't even want to talk trash on it. I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. The third movie is getting a Blu-ray in the U.S. finally. And finally, take that with a grain of salt. This one will have way more features than that last disc. It will have a commentary with the director and a making of. How do you feel about the third entry into the I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise?
It's in English. It's in focus, and it is feature-length. Yes, it is a feature-length film. Yes.
Yeah, I watched this movie for the first time last year. I was miserable watching this.
It's so bad. It's really bad.
I don't even want to shit on it. This movie made me very depressed because I actually really liked the first one. The second one was fun for what it was, but man.
I guess I'm in the minority. I actually adore the second one. I think it's so completely just ridiculous. I don't know. It's very entertaining. I'm a big fan of the second one. It makes no sense on any level at all, which makes you kind of adore it.
Yeah, and not to mention, I already have this from 88 Films, so that's a better release,
right? But it's still that movie though.
Yep, can't argue with that. This is another one that is very confusing to me. So October 10th, Shout Factory or Shout Studios, I guess, sorry, is releasing Pumpkinhead on 4K, just like they already announced on their site, but it's coming as a Best Buy Steelbook. I don't know how they're doing this or why they're doing this, but Shout Factory and Best Buy do not announce these. The last 4 or 5 steelbooks they've released, they just quietly show up on the website and they hope people find them. Yeah. This is such an odd decision to not announce this. And like, I don't love the artwork. I'm probably not going to buy this steelbook, but are you hoping that they're just going to discover it and that it's going to sell like hotcakes? How do you not announce this?
Yeah, I guess I figure they'll just drop it on the new release rack in the store and people will be like, ooh, but I don't know.
No press release, nothing.
No, nothing.
Craig says I kind of dig that art. Next up is another Shout Studios title, and this one came out of nowhere. So this is September 26th. This is a site exclusive. There are only going to be 2,500 of these made. The first 600 will have a poster, and this right now is listed for $170 on their website. This is the Tai Lung David Chang collection. First of all, 1 year, Shout Factory has now announced, because they haven't even released the last 2 yet, 5 different Shaw Brothers box sets. And I don't know if you know for sure, I'm hearing a rumor that there's one more coming before the end of the year, and another one already in production for early next year.
Yep. Yeah, which is we already had more. Just from Shout Factory, we had more Shaw Brothers movies than we had on DVD in the U.S., which is wild.
In 1 year.
Yeah.
I think Shout Factory is up to 80. Maybe it's not that many. It's like, I think we have a total of like 83 Shaw Brothers titles on Blu-ray or 90, something like that. They've only made 285 Shaw Brothers movies, I think, something around that number. I mean, at this rate, Shout Factory could release them all in the next year and a half.
Well, but I really wish they would start doing some non-martial arts ones though, because there were some amazing like Shaw crime films and women in prison films and stuff like that. So I would kill to get some of that stuff on Blu-ray. Some of those never even made it past VCD. So please.
Yeah, where is the horror? I mean, there's some really good Shaw films that are directly like female focused, and I don't think we have any of those yet.
Yeah.
There's some more wuxia films that they could easily make a box set or two just of wuxia films. Yep. This is crazy though. So on this, they have Sword Will Travel, the heroic ones, and these are so long I have to go through multiple posts. We've got those, Vengeance, the Anonymous Heroes, the Deadly Duo, Duel of Fist, the Duel, the Angry Guest, All Men Are Brothers, the Blood Brothers, the Savage Five, and 7-Man Army.
Yeah.
So all of those will probably have special features. They didn't announce them yet, but they're doing pretty well with special features on all these box sets they're doing.
Some pretty big heavy hitter titles in that set too.
So I mean, we didn't talk about martial arts with you. What's your history with martial arts? Because it seems like you know a lot about them.
Well, back when I worked for Image Entertainment for many years, I actually handled the Shaw Brothers line there. So I've seen a lot of them. Like even the ones we didn't pick up because they would send, boxes of all their stuff to go through that we would license up. So yeah, like have Sorbo Travel and all, like several of these. I worked on the DVDs back in the day, so I've been yes, absolutely. Heroic Bloodshed's a box that would be great. But I mean, so I've seen like tons and tons of these Shaw Brothers movies. So yeah, I mean they're great films. But yeah, I hope they go a little beyond them. Just strict martial arts though would be nice because all their boxes have just been that, which is great. I love them. It's great. Have Sorbo Travel is a blast. The Duel is great. Allman Brothers. I mean, these are fantastic films. So yeah, I can't wait to see them looking all nice and clear because all we have are those old DVDs, which are ancient. And those are like old PAL masters.
Right.
The day, if you don't remember, because like the ones that came out here, they transferred everything in PAL and slowed it down for the VCDs and the DVDs that came out. So they always had that weird artifacting. So yeah, this will be a treat.
Very, very interesting. Yeah, Shaw Brothers stuff is coming out like crazy. I believe we're supposedly still going to see 2 or 3 more box sets from Arrow, from Shawscope. So we're just all in on Shaw Brothers. If you like Shaw Brothers, just keep making money because you're going to have a lot to spend. and it's crazy that we've had, I think, some of the ones from 88 Films are the only ones that have been doubled up on any of these. And it's not even all of them. It's just been a couple of them.
Yeah, and totally different extras. So,
right. Yeah. Wow, that's it's crazy how fast they're doing these, though. Oh, and of course, I had to click away from it. We only got a couple left. One is Classic Flicks, which not enough people talk about Classic Flicks because they are doing some really important stuff. They are having their Super Summer Sale. Shipping is $5 flat. First time on sale this time are Blondie, the complete series, Hi Diddle Diddle, The Long Wait 4K, and Obsessed. The Abbott and Costello Show Season 1 is only $20. I, the Jury on 4K is only $22. That's the one I believe also had a 3D disc in there as well.
Yep.
And then Jack and the Beanstalk is down to $20. But they do some stuff that nobody else is going to be touching for sure.
Yeah, they do some really, really great ones. That I, the Jury set alone is just remarkable. It's a beautiful,
I paid the price for it. It's incredible. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
Just a couple left. Second Run, which another label that never gets enough attention. They are incredible at what they do. They're releasing Interrogation from 1982. This one is a new 2K restoration of the uncut version of the film by WF Diff Poland. I'm not going to say this name right for sure. Rizard Bujalski on Interrogation, an in-depth interview with the director in which he discusses the film's contextual history, its production, the controversy surrounding its release, and its eventual withdrawal and banning by Polish authorities. A 40-page booklet with writing on the film by Michael Sporer, and the complete transcript of the 82 hearing before the so-called Collodation Commission ahead of the film's suppression. This is going to be region-free, like almost all of Second Run stuff. And this looks amazing.
Yeah.
This looks like a must for me.
Yeah. Never seen it, but I love their stuff.
Craig is pointing out he restored You Only Live Once for Classic Flicks. Says it's a very cool film. Nice.
Beautiful disc.
Question from the chat. Any idea when Oscilloscope will have a sale next? August 10th. I think their next one is probably Black Friday. I don't remember anything from them other than they always have a sale on 420 and then Black Friday. I think those are the two big ones for them. And then the last thing for this week is huge. So Indicator, November 20th in the UK, November 21st in the US is releasing The Criminal Acts of Todd Slaughter. So I never saw anything with Todd Slaughter until today when they announced this. Have you seen any of these or have a history with these?
I've seen all these, and yeah, these go back to the VHS days. If you know the company Sinister Cinema, they used to sell all these back on VHS back in the day. These movies are wild. If you love Universal horror movies like the old ones, these are kind of like those, but like the acting is like pumped up like triple the decibel level. I mean, it's like very over dramatic. These are tons of fun. Todd Slaughter is probably best known for being in the original film of Sweeney Todd, which of course became the musical and the Andy Milligan movie and yada yada. But these movies are just really, really great. But they always look like crap. The only one that has ever looked good is Face of the Window, which Kino did a really gorgeous Blu-ray a couple of years back. The rest of these were just like in PD hell. They were like blurry and scratchy. You could barely tell what people were saying. I am so stoked these are coming out. I can't wait to see them looking immaculate. This is like all of the big movies he made except for one. There's like one holdout, which I guess is a rights issue. But yeah, this looks like just a spectacular set. Like I really, really can't wait.
There are so many special features on here. First of all, I couldn't keep them in one post. Instagram limits me to 2,200 characters, and it was going to be like twice that, literally. But on top of that, the artwork on this is amazing. They're going with the original. This is just very, very exciting. I mean, with the Todd Browning set from Criterion, coupled with this and, some of the classic flick stuff, it's been a really cool year for some of the super old titles that are coming out. And this looks like I hate to say it already, but an incredible capper to the year. We still have December and a lot of people that haven't announced for November yet, but this coming out in November, this is exciting. This looks really great.
I just wish it was out in time for Halloween because this would be perfect, but oh well. Close.
I watched some of the stuff on YouTube today, and he is just so fun. So fun to check out. I can't wait to see the Sweeney Todd in full, and everything. It's just, again, I've said this many times on here, but Indicator seemingly is like the most consistent quality-wise boutique that is really hard to bet against, because everything they put out is gold. Lately there's been some delays and all that, but when it gets in your hands, you can't really fault it.
Boy, they know how to throw some curveballs at you too.
Look at this year alone. I mean, we got the Michael J. Murphy set. You've got the Ormond set. You've got the Mexican Horror set. You've got this. It's crazy what they're pumping out over the year.
Yeah.
Anthony says, I'm going to need 100 more announcements. No, I think we're fresh out, thankfully. And funny enough, I think there was a couple that got announced right before we went live. So those will be on there for next week. Speaking of next week, we usually go over what is dropping next Tuesday, just in case. Roman Holiday gets a standalone 4K. Asteroid City, like I mentioned, is next week. Shaw Brothers Classics Volume, I believe this is 2, finally releases next Tuesday. The Cosa Nostra set from Radiance is getting released, although it's in the hands of quite a few people already. Impulse from Grindhouse releasing. That one is shipping. A lot of people have gotten that already. Is Paris Burning from Kino is coming. City of the Living Dead 4K Standard. The Audie Murphy Collection Volume 3. Primetime Panic Volume 2. Dim Sum from Criterion. Holy Spider, which this is an interesting release. This is getting, I believe it's technically from MVD, but because of the theatrical rights, some people are thinking it's Yellow Veil that's putting that out, or Utopia maybe. One of them, but it's actually MVD that's releasing that one themselves. August Underground from Unearthed. People have been waiting on that one for a while. The Doll from 1919, part of the Ernst Lubitsch collection from Kino. Journey into the Beyond, which actually looks kind of interesting. That's another VCI release, unfortunately. Couple other smaller name titles. Anything in the next week that you've either already been able to check out or that you're excited to see?
Broken Mirrors is pretty cool. That's the new Cult Epics one. That's a pretty well one too. I'd recommend that one. I'm working my review for that one, but yeah, that's a cool one.
Cult Epics is one of those that, again, kind of like Indicator, they're quietly just pulled into this awesome. Every time they release something, it's super high quality, but because of some of the titles not being well known, they just stuck on that cult side. Which, yeah, it's in the name, I guess.
Yeah, right there. But yeah, they're always worth checking out. They're really fascinating title choices.
Yep. And then again, the Shaw Brothers Classics Volume 2. That's the third box set that is coming out from Shaw this year that people will have in their hands. And there's still 2 more coming so far.
I think, isn't this number 3? I think I don't know. I've lost track. I think they already did 2, right?
Yes, this is the third one, but that's Essential Classics Volume. Yeah, that's number 2 coming out next week.
Yeah.
They did
Brave Archer set. Yeah.
Brave Archer, that's the one.
Right.
So then Volume 3 is coming, I think, in October. And then that one that we just announced. That's crazy.
So many boxes of Shaw Brothers.
I love that Craig is saying, why only release films no one has heard of? Who does that? The irony. Thank you for doing what you do, Craig. We love your stuff. So tonight, we lobbed a couple ideas for a film discussion after the announcements and said, let's land on rock musicals. So why rock musicals, Nathaniel?
Nobody talks about them, and we haven't had a good rock musical in a long time. So it's like, I think it's time to revive it. I think we're way overdue. It needs to happen. And they do them on Broadway. They do these jukebox rock musicals all the time. But I think maybe because Rock of Ages was such a huge bomb, like ever since then, it's been really quiet. People are afraid to go back that way. But like, I don't know, the rock musical has such a really great history, and then we have so many classic ones. But like, people just, it's like a blind spot. Nobody really talks about those at all. So yeah, let's just give it some love. Why not?
What do you think was the last great one that was released?
Great one? That's a good question. Like the last one, I think probably the last really like significant was probably Hedwig and the Angry Inch and Velvet Goldmine, that period, you know. But yeah, since then it's been kind of a dry spell, and I think they need to bring it back.
I agree. So what, in your opinion, do you think a solid, not even necessarily top tier, but a solid rock musical has to have?
Well, memorable songs. That's the main thing.
It's
have at least 2 songs that you walk out stuck in your head. It's got to have it. It's got to have the right attitude, and that's kind of hard to do. It's got to have just a bit of a swagger to it, but it can't feel like it's trying too hard. It's got to be cool, but not too cool. It's it's that certain something that it has to have. And when it, like I said, Rock of Ages is one where they tried way too hard. It was just felt so artificial, and it just didn't really work. And felt like they were trying to make it for the suburbs, and it just was like terrible movie. And unfortunately, that kind of, like I said, I think that just scared everybody since then. But yeah, I think when you get the combination right, it's really beautiful.
I would agree. I purposely went away from what I thought your taste was going to be for tonight. So some of mine may feel a little off the wall, but I wanted to make sure that we covered 10 across the board that would cover some wide spectrum. So I went a little more mainstream, knowing that you're probably going to go a little more deep cuts. But I got some crazy ones that I'm going to try to throw in there as well. So let's start with your number 5 first.
My number 5. Okay. Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. Russ Meyer. What can you say? Roger Ebert wrote it. Every line is quotable. The songs are amazing and super infectious. It pissed the MPA off so much, they still give it an NC-17 rating, got an X rating back in the day. They were so irate about it. It has nothing to do with the original Valley of the Dolls whatsoever. Set in LA. It's about this girl group called the Carrie Nations and their rocky road through Hollywood. Amazing. Just a great rock movie. Beautiful. Totally psychedelic, great color scheme. It's pretty. All the actors are great. Love it, love it, love it. And it's Russ Meyer doing a big studio movie for 20th Century Fox. So yeah, how can you go wrong?
Yeah, this one is great. And I'm glad that this is one that we've been able to wrestle away from the Meyer estate. And this is the one that we've got on Blu-ray from multiple boutiques, and they've done well by it. Now, if we could somehow get into the rest of the estate, everything could be a better place in the world.
Someday, before we all die, please.
Maybe Faster Pussycat Kill can stop selling for $140 on eBay.
Indicator, please, your only hope. Come to our rescue.
All right, my number 5. I'm really only choosing this one at number 5. I do think it deserves to go higher, but I just talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I can't do this list without mentioning Pink Floyd The Wall. I don't know why. This is another one like Fried Green Tomatoes. I saw too young, too many times, and because of that, so many images from this are burned into my eyelids when I close my eyes. I love this movie. Again, very memorable songs, obviously, because they were everywhere, by some of the greatest musicians of all time. Really well-made film. The surrealism behind this is one that will, if you pay attention and you watch it enough, will weigh heavily on you for a while. It's I hesitate to say the word fun with it, but looking back on it, it's pretty fun, for me at least.
And it's really fun if you can see it like in a midnight show with an audience, which they haven't done in decades. But yeah, it was a midnight movie for a reason.
Yep. Oh, dang. Wave says they're showing The Wall on 35 millimeter here next week. Nice.
Ooh. Yeah, where's the Blu-ray of that?
Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, there's actually, I was looking at like some lists for these. There are so many of these that we don't have high def releases for, seemingly probably because of music rights for some of them. But God dang, we are depriving so much from these.
It kills me that like about 15 years ago, like Paramount actually struck an HD master for American Hot Wax, and it still has never been released anywhere, any format, because of music rights. It's so stupid.
I mean, some of this supposedly we might be getting, Searching for Mr. Goodbar, and there's a couple more that were supposedly locked up because of rights and music problems. That it seems like the rumor is we're getting in the next year or so. So maybe there's a way to untangle some of these.
Yep, I hope so.
All right, number 4, my friend.
All right, so here's my wildest card choice: Shock Treatment from 1981.
Yes,
I love this movie so much. People like crap on it all the time because it's a sequel to Rocky Horror, even though it has Brad and Janet, but that's pretty much all it has in common.
Right.
Such a fun movie, insanely ahead of its time. It actually predicted the whole like reality TV show and social media, all of that. It saw it coming decades ahead. The songs, there's so many catchy songs in this movie. The songs are great. I actually like the songs in this more than Rocky Horror, except for Time Warp. It's classic. But overall, I think the song choices in this are just fantastic. Richard O'Brien came back and did the songs again. The gist is that Brad and Janet wind up getting stuck inside a TV studio for the whole movie. They're under a microscope on this like live reality show, and the audience is in there with them. Like they actually sleep in the studio, and it just gets crazier and crazier. Jessica Harper plays Janet. Wild movie. I love it to death. I know they've tried to like make it a midnight thing and never catches fire because it's not Rocky Horror. It's rated PG. It's a whole different animal. But I really, really love this movie, and I wish more people would watch it.
I don't remember, but I feel like hearing years ago that somebody, not saying it's Rubenstein, but somebody like Rubenstein owns that one for the US. Do you know the history behind that at all?
I don't know. Yeah, because Arrow did a Blu-ray in the UK that went out of print like that. I mean, it's stupid expensive now. That's, so good luck. I mean, you got to get the DVD over here. Yeah, I don't know, because I mean, Fox technically has the movie, but I guess there's some weird thing with the songs or something. Like, it's an ownership thing going on. So I don't know if we'll ever get it over here. I hope so, because it needs to be far more widely seen.
Did you get the Arrow Blue? Do you still have it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I cherish it. As soon as it was announced, I was like, mine.
I wasn't going to brag, but yes, I love that release. It is so great. Love this movie. This is an incredible pick for sure. My number 4, I'm going to go with one that some people are probably going to think is obvious, but I know that a lot of people that are sort of, and we've talked about this recently, but like anti-post 2000 films, I got to throw around one of the ones that made me almost feel motivated when I was younger, which is School of Rock. Like Jack Black has owned some musical items from this and Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny, which easily could be on this list for me. I love them both so much. But School of Rock it's wholesome in the best ways. It is written so great. I mean, look who directed it. That's like all you got to know. And the cast that is a part of it had that perfect infectious sort of magnetism as they're going through this story, and they each have these underlying things that, of course, one of them's fat, one of them's an outcast, one of them whatever, and then Jack Black doing his crazy loaning, being loaned money and needing to get the rent or whatever is such a perfect way to put all of it together. This likable schlub, basically. I love this movie, and the soundtrack is kind of incredible for what they did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great film.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Linklater is in general, though. I mean, his streak is just insane. I mean, it's like his track record. If you look from the very beginning to now, it's wild. I mean,
how is it possible?
Yeah.
All right, number 3, sir.
All right, number 3 is Hair, Milos Forman. First of all, the fact that they managed to take that play, and if you know the play, it really has no plot, and they took it and they made a movie out of it, and it's an amazing movie. It is, and for some reason, it's one of those movies. Every time I go back and watch it, it always feels shorter every time. Like it just flies. It is so impeccably edited, and it's 2 hours. It feels like it's 10 minutes. Obviously, tons of great songs that are in the Great American Songbook. It's got Treat Williams, rest in peace, one of his very finest leading roles. John Savage, and they found a way to make Jessica Harper, absolutely. They found a way to make a movie that was essentially a Vietnam protest film, and they made it relevant, even though it was far removed from Vietnam. And if you've seen the ending, it has a really powerful ending. Like it actually kind of chokes me up every time I watch it. It's just really intense. But I think Milos Forman, everybody thinks about Amadeus and Cuckoo's Nest, but I think this is really up there. I think it's one of his very best movies.
This is one I haven't seen in a very long time, but I certainly need to revisit. And it's one that I need to dive into some of his stuff for my wife, who's never been, she's never seen any of them. Like she's never seen Amadeus, and just watching her react to that, I would be eager for that one for sure. My number 3, I'm not entirely sure if this one would count for some other people, but I love this one, and I love the Arrow release. So I wanted to make sure it got some love, because this is one that seemingly flew under the radar, especially in the US, which is odd. But I adored Dinner in America from a couple of years ago.
Ooh, yeah, good choice.
Technically, they make music in the film. They do have a couple of scenes, and there's one scene in particular where they make a song together, and it's so well done. The soundtrack for this is great. They sold it on vinyl here recently, and it seemed to do pretty well. I just got to shout out, everybody in this film is perfect. Like that perfect tension almost because of the awkwardness of each character. Marilyn Ricegub as the mother of the female character in this was hilarious. But all of it centers around this magnetic anti-hero, basically, that is the leader of this band. That the story itself, when she is worshiping this band and doesn't realize she's with the lead singer the entire day, is such a great story. And it ends in a way that is not positive, but not necessarily negative. It's like this hopeful punk anti-establishment, wonderful just piece of incredible music. I love this film.
It kind of reminded me, it kind of had the same feeling as like Once, because there's a scene in there where they actually, when they really do the song, the scene, you kind of get chills, like when the song suddenly just comes to life in front of you, and it's like, whoa, it's so good.
Yeah, and he is so good in this movie too. He just owns this character arc.
Yeah.
All right, Nathaniel, number 2.
All right, number 2, Rock and Roll High School.
Of course.
I mean, it's a brilliant film. I got the bug for this movie back when I was a little kid. I used to run the movie channel all the time. I can't even count how many times I've seen it. It's the Ramones. It's PJ Souls. They blow up the high school. Mary Warnock's the principal. I mean, it's a perfect film. It has one of the funniest gags I've ever seen. The paper airplane bit, if you've seen it, you know what I mean. But it's one of the laugh out loud funniest like bits of like movie footage ever conceived. It's fantastic. But all the Ramones songs are great. Obviously, you've got the team song. Of course, you got PJ Souls, which she does in the gym. It's just as good. I love this. I think it's one of the very best Roger Corman films ever made. You can't see it too many times.
PJ Souls in this, I got to admit, I'm sad that she is the Halloween second place girl, basically, and that's all she's known for. And she says totally 4,312,605 times a year now. But this should have been her legacy.
It's really good.
I love her in this movie.
Yeah, she's an amazing. Like, I don't know why Riff Randall isn't talked about more, because she, especially for a movie in the late 70s, where it's like you would think, oh, it'd be about her getting a boyfriend or whatever. It's like she has no use for anyone but the Ramones. Like, that is her sole obsession in the movie. She's all about rock and roll, start to finish. And she ultimately turns into a terrorist, basically, which is amazing. She's just fantastic. Like, I don't know why she doesn't get brought up more. It's like, I think she's one of the great movie characters.
Yeah, and I mean, this clearly inspired a lot of other things, especially something like Heathers and so many films that were just like Detroit Rock City could not have existed without this movie. This is just perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
My number 2 is I struggled with this one because it's clearly a satire, but when it's a fake band that becomes a real band, I have to include this as Spinal Tap. I am enamored with the comedic styles of Christopher Guest, and very, very happy with everything that is in this. The only thing that was close for competing with this for me, funny enough, is Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. Mm-hmm. Love the songs in that, but this is I really wanted to keep myself to one satire. This is damn near perfect. I mean, the comedy hits in every single scene. The actors own every role in this in a way that without those actors, it could not have been this good. Michael McKean has obviously had an incredible run recently with Better Call Saul and everything else that he's been doing. So I'm so glad that he's had the career that he's had. I mean, Clue and this and Better Call Saul, I'm so impressed by him constantly. But This Is Spinal Tap is something that I've seen probably 200 times in my life, and every single time I laugh like crazy, but also sing like crazy. The songs in this are perfect.
Yeah, every single one of them. And speaking of funny bits, I think the Stonehenge bit might be the funniest scene ever put on film.
Yes, it's so good. So good. I'm also kind of thinking that we may end up with the same number 1.
Actually, no, because we didn't know each other's list, so I actually had a feeling you might pick Spinal Tap because that was one of my number 1 choices, but since you just took it...
No, that was my number 2. I think we might have the same number 1.
Since you just took my number 1, which I actually had 2 choices. So my other number 1 is actually one I've mentioned on here before, but it shouldn't be a surprise because, like I said, it was I had my 2 number 1 choices. So my number 1 has got to be Phantom of the Paradise, the Brian De Palma film, which is absolutely perfect. One of my favorite films of all time. Amazing songs by Paul Williams, every single one of them. Again, Jessica Harper, again, she's on my list twice. As you know, it's kind of like cross between Phantom of the Opera and Faust, but done as like a 70s glam rock musical with a little bit of like sort of pseudo Kiss stuff thrown in, and It's everything. But yeah, this movie is just ridiculously fun. Every single second of it, I love it. Again, I've seen it like a cajillion times. And if you can't see it in a theater with an audience, because that's really how it was designed to be seen. Unfortunately, kind of Rocky Horror took a lot of its thunder. Like it should have been as being a midnight movie, but Rocky Horror kind of swooped in and just sort of took that audience away. But I think it's at least as good, and it deserves that following.
This is also my number one, so I kind of saw that coming. One thing I really wanted to say that wasn't mentioned is the ability for them to really go for it. Like the costuming is perfect in this. The set pieces that they could have really cheaped out on look so perfect for this. It is just everything coming together at the right moment in the right way with the right amount of earnest attempt to make this something great. Really speaks to just what they did completely perfectly together. I've said it before on here many, many times, but De Palma has had a masterpiece in almost every single genre, and I hate him for it.
Yep.
But I mean, to be able to do this with the musical as Brian De Palma is like, that should not be possible. I don't get how he did it. The only thing I have to say, I got to give a shout out here. I considered Repo the Genetic Opera. So I love Repo. Repo is probably the closest thing to Phantom of the Paradise out there for me. It just doesn't come quite to the quality. I think that they nailed a lot of the like the set pieces and the mood, but the songs got to go a little harder. And really, some of the acting in Repo could have been a lot better. But
yeah, I would say the music is the one area that doesn't quite get up there. Like the songs don't get into your head quite as much. Yeah. But it's in the same ballpark for sure.
Obviously, there's tons that we could have mentioned for these. I see many that have been mentioned in the chat. Inside Llewyn Davis was on my short list, but it wasn't quite rock enough for me.
Yeah,
for this one, I love that movie, and honestly, one of my favorite Coens, easily.
Yeah, there were three others that are kind of my runner-up, so I can just throw them out there. One is Ken Russell's Tommy, which is
of course
amazing film. It's almost in my top 5. Rock and Roll, the animated film, the Canadian movie, which I love. Again, way underseen. Heavy Metal took all of its thunder, but again, I think Rock and Roll is at least as fun. It's really fun. Heavy Metal, of course, obviously too. And for sheer entertainment value, I've got to go and mention The Apple, the Cannon film, which is so much fun. I mean, it's a movie that kind of does everything wrong and yet completely right at the same time. Somehow, I don't know why that is. Like it's full of rock songs that are terrible but amazing. Like you cannot get them out of your head when it's done. Yep. It's a futuristic 80s biblical Berlin glitter musical that's with Catherine Mary Stewart. I don't know how to describe it beyond that, but it's amazing.
I finally saw The Apple a couple of years ago after hearing Elric Kane from Pure Cinema Podcast be against it for so many years and be against watching it for the first time. And I went, okay, I got to see it. And that movie is insane. Yeah. Absolutely amazing in all of the best ways. I love that we see a cat climbing up the blinds. It's perfect. The only other one that was like this close to getting on my list, Streets of Fire, is kind of a perfect film too. This was really close. For some reason, I don't have the nostalgia attached to Streets of Fire, so it's not quite in my top 5, but it is so good. And I mean, to have a 4K for that is amazing. Where's the Rock and Roll High School 4K, by the way?
I know, right? Like, come on, Shot Factory.
They're re-releasing everything else. I'm kind of shocked they haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
Scott Pilgrim, that's a good one. I mean, you can almost say any of Edgar Wright's films with the way he does music. Obviously, they're not creating music in most of them, but I mean, look at Baby Driver. That's the closest thing you can get without it being a musical.
Yep.
Gosh, yeah, there's been a lot of great comments. Christopher Silvestri said The Last Waltz wasn't mentioned.
That's a concert movie, though.
Yeah.
We're doing those.
We can quote Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. If I remember right, I think that's one of Justin Beam's favorites that he's been trying to get on Blu-ray for a long time.
Oh, that'd be great. Both cuts.
Sibner said Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox Story. That is such a good satire. Like, that movie is so underrated. Everybody thought it was cheesy. That movie's amazing.
Yeah. It's like the best double feature with Spinal Tap. They really go together well.
The Commitments and the Blues Brothers. Blues Brothers was close for me.
Yep.
Wave wanted to shout out Once Is Incredible, like you brought up.
Yep.
Hedwig was really close for me. Like that's a big one.
Yeah, Hedwig and Velvet Goldmine were up there for me too. Really close.
Wayne's World, that's a good choice too.
Sort of, yeah.
kind of making music. At
Kind of.
least a couple songs at the end.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Man, yeah, I love musicals, and especially when you do it this way with some great attention to detail and just unending love for music. That's when these are really special.
Yep. So we need more.
Yeah, we do need more. Like, I had hope, obviously, when Lin-Manuel Miranda is out there doing everything that he can for stage play and making Hamilton this beast and all that. But we need somebody else that can do a good rock musical.
Well, he is doing The Warriors as a musical now, so.
Hey, look at that. We mentioned Bruce earlier. Bruce is here. He says, no love for Get Crazy.
Crazy, for sure. Yes, absolutely.
That's a good one. Sibner says he loved Elvis. No reaction from the panel.
Actually, Moulin Rouge, I think is that's a huge one too.
Yeah,
that's
when he leans into it hard.
Yeah.
This has been incredible. Anything else you want to shout out?
God, we've done so much. Yeah, I don't know. I just I'm counting the days till some of these come out. The Todd Slaughter set again threw me for a loop when they just announced that at the last minute before the show. I'm so psyched for that one though. I really can't wait.
Craig is saying no love for Prince. We probably should have mentioned Purple Rain.
I would say Purple Rain for sure. I love Purple Rain. The music is so good. I just wish the script was better. That's my problem with it. Like, Prince is amazing and the songs are fantastic. I don't think he ever really found the right movie for him. Like, if someone had written the movie up to his caliber, I think he really could just blown the doors off. But I love Purple Rain though. I think it's his best movie.
How do you feel about Across the Universe?
I think it is incredibly well made. It has two really good scenes, like two amazing sequences. My only problem is, like, nothing really happens to the characters. Like, it's supposed to be this sort of grand, like, their journey through the turbulent 60s, but it's like they just sort of drift through and, like, nothing really happens. Like, there's no real change. Like, it's not really much of a love story. And it's like, they don't really go through all that much. They just sort of, like, watch stuff happen. So it's a weird one. Like, I think it's like half a great film.
I remember really enjoying a couple songs. I think Eleanor Rigby was one of them. I really like. I'm not sure what the other one was. It's been I've not seen this in a long time.
Yeah, She's So Heavy is, like, I think is an amazing sequence. Like, I think when Tamor just really cuts, when she goes all like Pink Floyd The Wall, when she does that stuff, I think it's amazing. Like, I kind of wish it all been like that. Like, just don't worry about the story so much and just go nuts. It would have been a masterpiece.
Oh shit, Josie and the Pussycats. How did I forget about that? I love that movie.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Oh, that movie is underrated like crazy and freaking prescient beyond belief how much that they called what would be happening over the next 20 years.
Yeah, and hilarious. Great movie. Yeah, I forgot about that. I didn't think about that one as a musical, but yeah, good suggestion. Very, very good.
Craig says it's unfortunate that Prince took over directing after Purple Rain. Imagine if he just performed and let an actual writer-director handle the film. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Simner says Spice World. I mean, that's a good point. We didn't mention any of the Beatles movies tonight. Are there any of those that you really like a lot?
I like them. It's just, I think I was born too late. Like, I don't have a personal connection to them is the problem. Hard Day's Night and Help, I really admire them. Like, I appreciate the craft. But there's no personal tie there. So again, these are my top 5 that I picked just because they're the ones that are, like, the most precious to me.
Bruce says, how about The Rose?
Great film, but boy, you got to be in the mood because it's kind of like, I love that. I put that in the same category as, like, All That Jazz, where they are perfect films, amazingly great, well-made films. But they're so pitch black. It's like, you just got to be in the mood. But I love both of them. Yeah,
it's been a long time since I've seen The Rose. I remember really liking it, though.
Yeah, I mean, Bette Midler is incredible in that. Like, that performance is just, like, beyond description.
Bette Midler as a whole is super underrated for what she's been able to do throughout her career. And again, we talked about consistency earlier. She has always had an incredible voice and can act like crazy.
And weird she doesn't get that many dramatic roles. I don't know why that is. I mean, she is hilarious, but it's like, I mean, she's like one of the great living actresses. I mean, nobody really thinks of it that way.
Absolutely. Video Store Review says, did you ever see the West African remake of Purple Rain? They don't have the word for purple in their language, so the film is called Blue Rain with a little red in it. I don't know if that's true or not, but oh man, that was the funniest thing I've read in a long time. Yeah, Tony, I don't know how I didn't bring this up. Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains, incredible movie. This is one of my favorites. Imprint did a great release of that last year. Or this year, maybe.
I think it was when it was early this year.
Yeah, time goes way too quickly right now.
It's all fuzzy.
Bruce, if you're still watching, send me an email, man. I'd love to have you on here. Let's see. Chris says Wizard of Oz, not quite a rock musical. I get it, but
The Wiz is, though.
The Wiz for sure. Tony did say early this year for Fabulous Stains. Crazy. That Thing You Do, that's a fun movie.
Yeah. It only has one song, though.
Yeah. And
you just hear it 900 times. Yeah.
That's the whole point. They're the one-hit O-Neaters.
Right.
Love it. Trick or Treat and a couple others. Video Store, it is true about the West African remake. Interesting. Anna and the Apocalypse. Would you count that as a rock musical?
I would.
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
What bad thoughts on the movie?
I wish I loved that movie more. I really do. I tried. I don't know why. It felt like they were trying to do a Buffy musical episode. And it just didn't work.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just, again, it felt forced. Like what I was saying, you can't force it too hard. And that one felt like it was pushing too hard. And the songs just weren't really good enough, you know? Like I loved what it was trying to do, but it didn't click for me. And I know people love that movie. I mean, that's great. Some people, the movie does it for you and some don't. I don't know. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, and again, we could have easily named probably another 35. I guarantee there's 5 or 6 that the moment I sign out, I'll be like, oh, yeah, I feel like an idiot for not mentioning that one. There's a lot more in here.
Yeah, there's like Stage Fright, the slasher musical. I mean, there's tons.
Not to bring this down at the very end, but for anybody that follows on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, I shared something recently. One of the people from inside the Patreon and our Discord had a tragedy happen recently, and we are collecting some donations for him. If you could check out in the description below, there is a PayPal donation link. We'll be sending over stuff next week. He had a very active wife that was made ill and is now probably stuck in a wheelchair for the foreseeable future and not doing great. So trying to help out somebody in the community. Take a look at that if you feel so inclined. If you're into it, the Physical Media Advocate, the zine that I've been making for the last couple of months, is available on Amazon now. Link for that is in the description below. Nathaniel, any release that just came out with you on it that you want to hype up any?
Oh my God. I don't know.
I know it's probably hard to keep the timelines in your mind.
I don't know what's actually come out now. Like once I turn the tracks in, I'm like, yeah, it'll be
just start naming 15 or 20. I'll let you know if they've been announced yet.
Right. Yeah. I don't even know. Oh my God. I'm absolutely drawing a complete blank.
I know you've done a lot with Troy and Eugenio a lot this year.
Well, technically, the most recent one is actually a reissue. Since Bruce is on here, I got to give a shout out because Bruce and I did a track for Manuel in America that was originally on the Mondo Macabro disc and is also on the German media book release, but has now made its third appearance in the Severn box.
Gotta love that.
Along with a new commentary by Kat Allinger. So, yeah, I was really, really happy that they brought that one back. So, yeah, I think Bruce and I are both really proud of that track. We love how that one turned out. I think it's a cool one. Oh, December last year for Saints. Okay.
Bruce just shouted out Todd in the Book of Pure Evil. I actually
they did too. There's 2 musical episodes of that one. Yeah, they're great.
Good stuff for sure.
Absolutely.
And Sibner also just brought out Once More with Feeling, probably the Buffy episode. Yeah, good stuff.
For TV shows, yeah, Buffy is like the champ.
I think the one that got close to me, Scrubs, actually did pretty damn good with their musical episode. I always love Scrubs.
And Star Trek did one too.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, we got one last question for Nathaniel, and then we'll close it up. What is Nathaniel's release he's most looking forward to for the rest of the year?
Ooh. Well, like I said, Indicator just kind of like threw that one out. They just did the kind of like, I don't know. I mean, again, the Shaw Brothers ones that are coming out look amazing. Yeah, I gotta say Todd Slaughter though. Like that one, I'm so hyped for it. I really can't tell you. Just seeing these all cleaned up, it's really just kind of made my year. It's going to be at the top of my best of list. I have a feeling, along with Emmanuel, obviously.
Yeah, I agree fully. Tommy was mentioned. Yes. Love Tommy.
Yes.
Nathaniel, thank you so much for this. You are always really great to talk to, and because you have such a wide appreciation of all these films, which a lot of people surprisingly don't. They seem to be stuck in a genre or a label or a time period, and I'm just glad that you are very well rounded.
Well, thank you for letting me indulge my love for rock musicals. I'm glad you get on that idea.
I love this stuff. All right, we'll see you all next Thursday, and thanks for hanging out with us.